Hello there. I do hope you're well. I have managed to replace the evil Robespierre for tonight, so I welcome you to this live stream. Wait a moment, there's some problem here. Let me move this over. Yes, that's a little bit better. Okay, that's better. So I do hope you're all very well this evening. Robespierre will not be with us tonight because he is locked in the garage. So I want to say a massive welcome to everyone. I'm hoping to take over this channel and turn it into a Brexiteer channel, because that's what it should be. I hope you can hear me. The audio seems to be correct. Let's see. Rule Britannia. Now, let's get down to business. We have a super chat. What is a super chat? It's from Valerio. Hi, Max. Max isn't here tonight. Today, I'm sorry for Gino Strada's death. I'm very sorry to hear that as well. Thank you very much for that super chat, Valerio. You sound foreign. Don't like foreigners too much, but thank you very much. Very kind of you. Did you kidnap him? Yes and no. So, once again, thank you very much, Valerio. Did you shrink the Queen, Ron? Did I shrink the Queen? No, the Queen is... look, I have to put the flag and the Queen up. It's my duty. So I have some questions from Discord, and I also have questions from you guys. If you want to post a question in the chat, want to say welcome to everyone who's on tonight. We have 148 viewers, so I hope everyone's going to smash that like button. How rude. There you go. Queen's got an orange sash. Yes, the Queen has an orange sash. So, let's see. We have a few questions. It says here from... Make sure I have the first one. Yes, this is from the Ministerian, who says, do you own Boris Johnson and Carrie's dinner plate set from wish.com? Yes, all of them. I also have Prince Andrew's, but I don't show it very often because it's a bit controversial. But I definitely do have Boris Johnson and Princess Carrie, Princess Carrie's dinner set. I'm looking forward to the family expanding and having a complete set as well. So I also have the royal set, and I also have the unofficial royal set. How much did your flag cost? Okay, there's a bit of a history behind this flag here. This is not a typical flag. This is a collection, if you believe it. Believe me now, this is a collection of Anne Whitcomb's underwear. I managed to, don't ask me how, but I got my hands on Anne Whitcomb's underwear. I bleached it, I dyed it, I sewed it all together, and I made a flag out of it. I hope you're impressed, because it took me a long time. It took me a long time to get my hands on that underwear as well, but I think it came out. I think it came out quite good. A butcher's apron. Did Prince Andrew come out from Pizza Express? I'm not sure if I try not to talk too much about Prince Andrew. Carrie Antoinette. Tom Nelson. We have a super chat from Tom Nelson, who says, have you invited Andrew Walker and Maihar Tulsi along as well, Brexiteer Festival? I did, but they seem to have been busy. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it. So thanks for that super chat, Tom. Perhaps we could organize on, what is it? Not Independence Day. It's Brexiteer Day, Brexiteer Festival. I hope to attend the Brexiteer Festival, and I hope you guys can also attend the Brexiteer Festival, because it would be a wonderful day. Drinking stale ale and gammon. I'm sure gammon with pizza on top. Pineapple on top. We can see. Knickers to flags. 2 sizes too small. I'm sorry. Yes, it's she only had so much I could get my hands on, okay? If that was Anne's underwear, you could have made more than one. Now, very naughty. Okay, so let's move on to our next question. How many PPE contracts did you get from the Tories? A lot. Now, of course, I don't have the ability to make PPE, but that doesn't make any difference. It hasn't made any difference to anyone else. So what I did was I sent Boris Johnson a WhatsApp, and he responded saying, how many PPE contracts do you need? And I said, all of them. And he said, no, I can't give you all of them. So I said, okay, how many can you give me? So he said, I can give you 160 million pounds worth. I said, okay. And I said, what do you need in return? And he said, look, can you just send over a few pizzas or something? So it's done. And I won the contracts. So it's wonderful. Didn't actually have to produce any PPE. I was planning to buy it from China, but that sort of fell through. But nothing else happened after that. So, did pretty well out of that. Tad, thank you so much for that super chat. Isn't it just horrible how the unionists are separating from GB by the nasty EU, all in the name of peace? Yours, Lord Tiberius Kentwell. Very good, and I agree 100%, yes. The union is being torn apart by the evil EU, the undemocratic EU. This undemocratic... Nigel Farage, who was elected to it on many occasions, has explained how undemocratic it is. And it's attempting to tear Northern Ireland away from the rest of the UK, because Northern Ireland, I don't remember, did Northern Ireland vote to leave or to remain in the EU? I'm sure they voted to leave, so we must respect that. So they voted to leave, so we must respect their choice to leave, and that is not being respected. So what did the EU do? They wanted to put a border in the Irish Sea to cut Northern Ireland off from the rest of the UK, which is unacceptable. And I'm sure Boris, who's the head of the Conservative and Unionist Party, remember, is going to make sure that Northern Ireland remains part of the UK. Northern Ireland will never become part of United Ireland. That's not going to happen. Boris Johnson has promised it. So, happy Brexiteer! Yay! Thank you so much for that. Keep up the good work. I will indeed. Very kind of you. It's a little bit hot today. Let me see. The next question is from Pierre Biggles, who says, do you really think your Union Jack is adequately sized? It's the best I could do with the materials that I had. Now, I'm afraid I can't tell you how I got my hands on Anne Widdecombe's underwear. The things you do for patriotism. But that's all I had. That's all I could get my hands on. So I wish the flag had been bigger, but I had very little material to work with. Reagan Elite, thank you so much for this super chat as well. Very kind of you tonight. I heard that the EU is working on their own Death Star. Of course. Look, it's important to remember that the EU is about to collapse. It's about to collapse at any moment. Okay? If you don't believe me, look at any article from the Express over the last 20 years. They've said every week the EU is going to collapse. So, they know what they're talking about. And Nigel Farage as well. He's said on numerous occasions the EU is going to collapse. So, of course, they're desperate to demonstrate some sort of power they have. Something strange about the EU is that they're both weak and very strong at the same time. And we have to point this out. We have to point out how they're both... And this is what Brexiteers do all the time. They point out how the EU is both very strong and very weak. And unless we point that out, people will think that it's either very strong or weak. But it's both. And of course, they're building a Death Star. That's what, evil empires do. Max, Northern Ireland voted Remain. I don't believe you, Paul. That's a lie. Paul is a liar. Paul needs to get off the stream. He's a liar. You don't listen to those lies. The EU is collapsing periodically. Yes, the EU is always collapsing. MJ Nichols says, supermarket shelves packed with Marmite and rusks tonight. So sick of salty Ramoners clearing the shelves to prove that they were right about Project. That's what's happening, guys. That is exactly what's happening. the supermarket shelves are full. But what happens is the Ramoners are going in, they're clearing out the shelves, they're buying everything, and then they're going back in after and taking photographs. Or what's possibly happening is that Ramoner managers in the supermarkets are removing all the items, taking a photograph, putting it up on social media, and then putting all the items back. Because when I go into the supermarket, they're full. Isn't it a coincidence that when Ramoners go in, they're always empty? You like my hat? It's similar to Jacob Rees-Mogg's. I got it in Savile Row. That's I think where Jacob Rees-Mogg goes shopping. Thank you so much for that super chat as well. Yeah, build the Death Star, make the rebels pay for it. The EU is going to build a Death Star and it wants us to pay for it. Well, no thank you. That's not going to happen. Where is your pick of the Queen? Here we go. That's from FSM is the dog. FSM? I don't know what that means. FSM. Is it like KFC? Okay, we have Tom Nelson who says, are you related to Bowler Hat Man or Jacob Rees-Mogg? I don't know who Bowler Hat Man is. Sounds like a cool guy. Sounds like someone who knows what he's talking about. Someone, obviously he's probably a Brexiteer. Jacob Rees-Mogg, yes, I am actually a distant relative of Jacob Rees-Mogg. Our families go back many, many generations. I think we're related, maybe a cousin or second cousin of my great-great-great-great-grandfather. So something interesting about my family is that I can track my family all the way back, trace my family all the way back to the Battle of Agincourt. Really, the Battle of Agincourt. My great-great-whatever grandfather fought in the Battle of Agincourt. Well, actually, he didn't fight. He died in Agincourt. He died of dysentery. He didn't actually fight, but he did. He was there. And, excuse me, and my great-grandfather ran a factory in World War II, making armaments for the British. But, don't tell anyone this, but they weren't very good. He was using low-quality material, and about 60 or 70% of the shells would explode when they were fired. But he was making a lot of money out of it. So, it's a bit like PPE contracts. I'm following in his footsteps in a sense. Philippe has a super chat. Thank you very much, Philippe. To you, Sir Ron, do you hunt unicorns and have many boxes of sovereign tea? Do you have in your mansion? Sorry, how many boxes of sovereign tea do you have in your mansion? I don't hunt unicorns. I hope you're not suggesting that there are Brexit unicorns. No, there are Brexit realities. There are no such thing as Brexit unicorns. And do I have boxes of sovereign tea? Yes, I have. And I have about 300 boxes of sovereign tea in my mansion. My mansion down in Somerset. Near Jacob Rees-Mogg, actually. So thank you very much for that. I hope I answered your question to your liking. Lots of sovereignty. Sovereignty makes the world go round. We have another question from Reagan Elite. Have you heard of UBI? What is UBI? Let me do a search. UBI. Universal Basic Income. Why would anyone want a universal basic income? Like, if you want it, does it involve working? Because, most people inherit their money. Most people don't, unless being a member of Parliament is called work, or in the House of Lords is called work. But universal basic incomes, it sounds like a pension or something, is it? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because why would you need extra money? Because haven't you inherited, millions from your parents? I assume everyone is like that. No, you've inherited huge quantities of cash from your parents, just like myself and Jacob Rees-Mogg. UBI is better than universal credit. Well, see, universal credit is very good to keep the poor people down, because we don't want the poor people getting very uppity and deciding that they don't want the rich people around anymore. But you need the rich people because the money trickles down to the poor people. So when I buy a Bentley, or if I buy a Rolls Royce, or if I buy a mansion, some of the crumbs fall from the table down to the poor people. And they should be very happy with that. Why aren't they happy with that? Giving them extra things just makes them want more. So the more you give the poor, the more they want. And you need to convince the poor, no, you have to work for it. I think it's quite simple to understand. FSM is the dog. Oh, we have a super chat from FSM is the dog. Did the evil EUSSR make you lose your GB accent? Yes, I've been stuck out here in Italy with my evil twin, and yes, I've lost my British accent, and it's really depressing. I want it back. It's, we won Brexit, but I lost an accent. What are the chances of Keir Starmer becoming Prime Minister? Keir Starmer becoming Prime Minister? No chance. He may be a sir, but he is no sir. Keir Starmer is a socialist, communist, Maoist, Marxist. So he's not becoming Prime Minister. No chance of becoming Prime Minister. You'd more likely see Boris Johnson telling a lie than Keir Starmer becoming Prime Minister. So I'm sorry to disappoint you. He's not becoming Prime Minister. We have a question from... Thank you, Super Chat. Thank you, FSM is the dog, and AN98. Thanks to both of you for your questions. We have one from JD. Thank you so much for that. Thanks from a person with poor eyesight. The YouTube comments are very clear. I'm not sure I understand what that's about, but thank you very much for that. Very kind of you. Let me see. We have another question. This is from Faifaka, who says, "Hey Ron, you big mad yoon that you are. Can you explain Schrodinger's Scotland? Are we a drain on the Union or aren't we? Let's hear it." So, should Scotland become independent? No, it shouldn't. Why? Because it's a drain on the UK. I think it's quite simple. The Scottish people don't deserve to be independent because, look, they're like children. You don't let children drive the car. You don't let children run the household. So, you need to treat them like children. The Scots have to be treated like children. They don't know how to be independent. They don't know how to run their own country. So you need the adult in the room to make sure that they don't harm themselves. So that's why Scotland should not become independent. But it's also a drain, because children are expensive, and it's a bit of a problem. But I think all in all, Scotland, of course, needs the adult in the room, to make sure that it doesn't bump itself on the furniture. I think that's a reasonable answer. We have some more super chats. Whoa, they're all popping up very quickly. Thank you so much for all of these. You're all very kind tonight. Ricardo Davili says, if Boris Johnson asks for your advice, what advice would you give him? I would tell Boris Johnson to keep on trucking, to keep doing exactly what he's doing. Boris Johnson is admired all over the country. I would actually suggest him to travel more because he's so admired everywhere. Boris Johnson should go visit Scotland, for example, because the Scottish people love Boris Johnson. He should visit Northern Ireland. He should meet the Unionists, my friends in Northern Ireland. They would be welcoming him with open arms. He needs to convince the British people. Some people, unfortunately, haven't got the memo, and they think that it would be better for the UK to break apart, like Scotland going away and Northern Ireland becoming part of a united Ireland. A united Ireland, yes. I'm an advocate for Ireland returning to the Commonwealth. Okay, it's just gone way downhill since it became a member of the European Union. I think that's clear for everyone to see. But I would advise Boris to visit Wales, to visit Scotland, and go into the heart of Scotland. For example, Glasgow. He should visit the Highlands. He should go and visit, what is that fat man's name? Ian Blackford. Yes, he should go and visit Ian Blackford and teach him a thing or two about the empire, about unionism. I think Boris Johnson could convert Ian Blackford into a unionist. Boris has that persona. He has that charisma. I think it's perfectly possible that he could do that. And he should go to Northern Ireland the same. He should meet with Jerry Adams or whoever that crazy person is and convert him to unionism. I think Boris Johnson is the guy to do it. And I would happily join him if he was to do that. I don't know if that's the advice that you would imagine. Tad again, we have a very kind of you, and thanks again, Ricardo. We have Tad who says only one member of the nobility to another. One member of the nobility to another, but weren't the Lexiteers socialist leavers secretly helpful to Brexit, but not campaign for a Remain? Lord TK. I don't believe so. I presume you're talking about Jeremy Corbyn. And Jeremy Corbyn is not a real Brexiteer. You can't be a socialist and a Brexiteer, because a Brexiteer cares about Britain. Socialists don't care about Britain. Socialists want to tear Britain down. They want to destroy Britain. They want to destroy patriotism. When was the last time you saw Jeremy Corbyn do this? When was the last time you saw Jeremy Corbyn do this? How can Jeremy Corbyn care about Britain if he doesn't wave a flag? Please answer me that question. There's no way Jeremy Corbyn cares about Britain because he doesn't wave a flag. Okay? So, if you care about Britain, you want Britain to be an independent coastal state. You want it to have happy fish. Who doesn't want happy fish? Jacob Rees-Mogg stood up in the House of Commons, and it brought a tear to... Sorry. It was an emotional moment for me. He stood up in the House of Commons and he said, British fish will be happy fish. And I think that was the most beautiful moment in my life. It was a beautiful moment that Jacob Rees-Mogg, it remains in my heart. British fish will be happy. Happy fish will be British fish. And he was so right. Right on so many levels. So many levels. It just demonstrates how connected Jacob Rees-Mogg is to ordinary people, to Britain, to the land, to the sea. That is why I admire Jacob so much. So Jeremy Corbyn is not a Brexiteer because he doesn't care about Britain. Let me see. Whoops, I have another. Oh, sorry. We have another super chat from Philippe. Thank you so much, Philippe, once again. Dear Sir Ron, do you throw darts at a poster of Nicola Sturgeon or Angela Merkel? Both. But no, I'm more concerned with Angela Merkel, because Angela Merkel wants to destroy Britain. Nicola Sturgeon also, but Nicola Sturgeon has no power. Nicola Sturgeon is a secondary individual. But no, Angela Merkel has real power because she's the president of Germany. And as president of Germany, she knows she has the right connections. And Germany basically runs the European Union. They're not too happy about what happened in the past and they want to get some revenge, I think. So that's why they're controlling everyone in Europe. They're deciding everything. And Of course, they wanted to punish Britain for having the audacity to leave. And they're doing everything they can to punish Europe, to punish Britain, putting up barriers, stopping British fish from being imported into Europe. And who's behind all of this? Who's pulling all the strings? Angela Merkel, of course. So Nicola Sturgeon is not really a concern. Nicola Sturgeon is a two-bit politician. She can't even, look at opinion polls. Boris is way ahead of her on every issue. But I think the real concern for Brexiteers is Angela Merkel. But I think she's leaving soon, so we should toast to her departure as president of Germany. Now, we have another super chat from Beer Wizard. Ooh, very nice beer. Although I prefer brandy myself. Is there any chance David Cameron or Prince Andrew appearing at a court of law anytime soon? Well, why? What have they done wrong? I'm not a huge fan of David Cameron, but he did deliver us Brexit. And Brexit has been the greatest success for Britain since World War II. And, well, 2 World Wars or 1 World Cup. But David, not a Brexiteer, but he did get the ball rolling. Prince Andrew, what has Prince Andrew done wrong? Prince Andrew appearing in court, Prince Andrew is above the law. The royal family are above the law, and rightly so. They have royal blood. They are appointed by God. Why should the law of the land touch them in any way? They are divine. And anyone who thinks otherwise is a traitor. Let me go down. I don't want to miss any of your super chats. Very kind of all of you. I think we have another one down here. Let me see. From Jan Williams. Thank you very much, Jan Williams. Will there be happy fish bank holidays announced? I hope so. And happy exporter day, happy importer day, happy farmer day, because of this wonderful deal that the farmers are going to benefit from, that Brexit Wonder Woman Liz Truss signed. So we're hoping to see some huge successes from that. So happy fish bank holiday. I think so. I would support that. Everyone should have the day off, and everyone should be down at the fish and chip shop having fish and chips with newspapers, old newspapers, not the ones that were banned by the European Union. Do you know that? The European Union banned the sale of fish and chips in newspapers. Once again, oppressing the British people. British people can't have fish and chips in old-style newspaper. Now that Brexit has happened, we're going to get back to that. Something about lead in the paint, but I don't care about that. What's a little bit of lead? We used to drink water in the 1800s. We used to drink water from lead pipes, and it didn't kill anyone. So this nanny statism by the European Union, I'm happy we're out of that. It's so obnoxious. Okay, let's Daily Blaze. Who is that? I'm not sure. Anyway, let's continue. We have another question from Chris, the Buttons blog. How do you prefer your gammon, with pineapple or without? Pineapple is a foreign fruit, and I don't want foreign fruits, so I prefer pure gammon. Okay? What is it with... I've noticed gammon used a lot recently when it comes to Brexit. I don't understand, because gammon has been around for a long time. It's almost as if people are trying to use it as an insult or something. Ton, thank you very much for that super chat. How is your Indian mistress? Or was she from Nigeria? Was it Tanzania, rather? Tough to keep track, right? Maybe the prize for Global Britain. No, my mistress is British. No foreigners with me. Look, foreigners are okay as long as they stay in their countries. That's the way it should always be. Yes, I understand that we also went to different countries, and educated the people there, spread the good word of the empire. But it was to make them better, to make them almost British. So if we took a few things from here and there, I don't think it's a huge problem. But I'm not sure you're getting the idea that I have a mistress. Yes, I'd like to know where you got that information from. I need to double check something. Let me see. We have Sir James Gillian. Hello, Ron. Now that Europe has to be decried, can you suggest any good destinations inside the UK for my holidays? Ah, very good. So a holiday in, let me see, Slough is very good. Slough is a wonderful place to visit. Let me see. Also, Dover, Kent in general. There are some wonderful lorry parks where you can park. It's normally for lorries, but you should be able to find some space there. Be careful where you park also, because you may find some bags and bottles of stuff, lying around. Don't touch them, okay? But there are a lot of small fish and chip shops, I think, opening up. Around, Kent is very nice. Used to be the Garden of Britain. Not so much of a garden now, unless you include these bottles and bags. But Slough is pretty good as well. I avoid going north because it's sort of rude people further north. Best to keep down to the south. The real salt of the earth people down there. Somerset is very nice. Maidenhead, yes, also. Scunthorpe, very good, yes. Clacton, I'm not familiar with Clacton. Bangor Regis. Marble Arch. Yes, Marble Arch is a wonderful place to visit. A wonderful site. You can climb up there and view the city. There were some problems with it recently. Okay, let's continue. Let me see if there's any more super chats here. Thank you very much, Sir James. Very kind of you, and Thorn as well. So we have another question from Majo, who says, how happy are you with your blue passport? I don't have the passport here, damn it. Wonderfully happy, because it's blue. It's no longer burgundy, it's blue. So, of course, Britain was the only country. Britain needed to leave the European Union also to change the colour of the passport. Now, I know some people will say, yes, but what about Croatia? Yeah, but Croatia's not a real country. It was necessary to leave. Tigers Bay, Belfast. Yes, that's a good place to visit. Brixton. So remember, it was necessary to leave the European Union in order to change the colour of the passport. And now this passport is more valuable than any other passport in Europe because it's unique. Look at all the other the Europeans. They have all their passport. Their passports are not worth anything because they're all the same. Yes, they have freedom of movement, but who wants freedom of movement? Nobody wants freedom of movement. We want to stay where we are. We're happy where we are, like the fish. So am I happy? Very happy, ecstatic. We have a question from Christopher. Where can I buy that hat? Where can I buy a hat like that? Savile Row. Yes. When you go in, you have to ask for Richard. And you say, I want the Mogg hat. And he says, okay. And he'll go out the back and he'll find a hat just like Jacob Rees-Mogg's. But you have to pay for it. It's not cheap. Let's see. We have another one from Erica who says, what is this Mankini video starring you that everyone is speaking about? What is a Mankini? Mankini. A Mankini. Let me do a search. Mankini. What the? Oh my goodness. But you can't. Okay. No, best to get rid of that. Okay, I don't want to see any videos of Mancunians, and I don't want to see a video of me in a Mancunian. Somebody must have done some sort of photoshopping or whatever you call it. Robert, thank you so much for that super chat. Very kind of you. Good evening, Sir Ron. Are you planning on going to any country shooting parties with the Right Honourable Member from the 1800s, Mr. Mogg, soon? Yes, we actually have an event planned next Thursday, I think it is. We're going to, I think it's called a poverty visit. We're going to visit a food bank, and we're going to stand outside and laugh at the people as they're entering. It's wonderful fun. You must try it yourself. What you do is you go to the food bank, and then you wait. You can either wait inside the Range Rover or outside the Range Rover. I prefer to wait inside because sometimes it's a little bit cold or a little bit hot. So I open the window about halfway, and then I laugh at them and I say, "Stupid poor people," as they're going into to get their food from the food bank. It's wonderful. Now sometimes Jacob, what he does is it's hilarious. What he does is he lights a £50 note and he throws it at them, and what they do is they scramble to try and get it before it's completely burnt. It's it's wonderful fun. I do recommend it. Unfortunately, we do have issues with sometimes the police. They come and say, "Gentlemen, can you please not do this?" And then Jacob takes off his hat, and then they go, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mogg, we didn't know it was you." And then the police go away, and then we continue. It's wonderful fun. So that we're probably doing that next Thursday. There's a food bank in Manchester, I think. So both of us, there's a lot of them. Like, thanks to the Conservative Party, they have increased the number of food banks around the country. Bravo. And what thanks do they get for that? Isn't it amazing that the Conservative Party are doing so much for the poor? Their policies are resulting in a massive number of food banks, and people complain about it. I really don't understand this. Well, we have another super chat. Let me see. This is from Dano. Dano, when will you receive the UBI order? Unionist British Imperial Order. I hope I put in a few words with some important people like Jacob. I try to get on the good side of Jacob Rees-Mogg from time to time. Try to get him to put in a word for me. Of course, for the UBI order. I really hope I get that. I don't know what for, but you don't actually have to do anything. You just have to turn up and say a few words and say thank you to everyone for blah 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 blah. It's a real honor, blah 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 blah, and then you get it. So I'm hoping that I will get some sort of honor, maybe the UBI honor, whatever that is. The Unionist British Imperial Order. I really like that. I can add it to the collection and then show it off when people come to visit. Do you have an order? Do you have a medal of honor or something like that? No, you don't. Good. I do. We all tend to gloat from time to time. We have a super chat. Thank you so much, Dano. We have a super chat from John Coleman. John says, a Limerick comedian I know, Carl Spain, once said racism caused by the foreigners and not by the economy and unemployment. Do you agree? Racism is caused by the foreigners and not by the economy and employment. Yes, of course. Racism is caused... Look, if the foreigners were not here, then it wouldn't be necessary for people to be racist towards them. Because they're here, we need the likes of the Daily Mail. I don't read the Daily Mail, it's a riffraff newspaper. But we need the likes of the Daily Mail or the Express to convince people to be angry with the foreigners. Because then they'd forget. And then they'd be angry with who? Who do you think they'd be angry with if they were not angry with the foreigners? They'd be angry with their betters. They'd be angry with the nobles, the the aristocrats, they would be angry with the rich. And we don't want that. Nobody wants that. So it's better for them to be angry with the foreigners. So yes, I would agree with that. If we had fewer foreigners, then be probably less racism, but then that'd be a bad thing because then they'd be angry with us. I don't know why. Remember, we give them jobs. My country estate employs lots of people on minimum wage, and I almost always pay them. But if I wasn't here, what would they do? They would have no jobs. So they should be very happy. And I remind them of that. Every time I go there, I remember, who do you say thank you to? I say, you, Sir Ron. I say, remember that. Because at any moment, I could decide, sorry, I don't like you anymore. Get out. And then they would say, well, what about my family? What about my rent or whatever? And I say, that's not my problem. So be kind to me. I think that's the least I can ask. Let me see. We have... very kind of you tonight. We have Ricardo with another super chat who's saying, some British companies seem to have set up shop in Europe. Should these be punished and how? Yes. So for some reason, and I don't understand why, some companies decide... some of them allegedly said that the British government told them you need to set up in Europe to continue operating. That's obviously a lie. So what should happen is the owners of these companies who have set up in Europe, they should be first imprisoned and then deported. Deported to the countries where they wanted to set up. There. We don't need these people. We don't need their business. We don't need their money. We can do much better without them. Because we want businesses that are patriotic. We want businesses that put Britain first. Not profits first. Not making money first. It must be about putting Britain first. Like it was in the past. Putting the empire first. The East India Company was not about making money. It was about promoting Britain. Exactly the same should be happening here. Thank you very much, Ricardo. We have another... Whoa, so many super chats tonight. Very kind of you. Max, my evil twin, will not be too happy about this. Tad, once again, thank you so much for that. How can the British Broadcasting Corporation have foreigners like Graham Norton on it? It's just terrible. He's Irish. Ugh, Lord Tiberius Cantwell. Yes, he should be paying to be on that. They should not be paying him. And I really don't understand why the BBC, since the 1950s, has decided to let the accents slip. There was a time where the accent was important because the accent demonstrated the quality, the prestige of the BBC. But since they allowed the Scots and the Welsh and the Irish to commentate and then to broadcast, to be broadcasters, to be commentators and news anchors and to head shows, then it was the end. It was the beginning of the end. Once you let the Irish in, then it's the end, I'm afraid. The Scots are pretty bad. The Welsh we can deal with, but the Irish, no. All they want to do is drink and fight. And I'm pretty sure that's what probably Graham Norton wants to do, just drink and fight. That's what they're good at. That's what they do. We ruled them for so long because all they did was drink and fight. So, that's... I don't understand what the BBC is doing at the moment. Attempting to be... What is it? What do they call... The young people call it woke. I'm not sure exactly. I know this is about just being open to everything. We need to be more conservative. And it's not just conservative with a big C, but conservative also with a small c. We need to go back to the way things were. And that's why we voted for Brexit. To go backwards, not to go forwards. To regress, not to progress. That's what Brexit is about. Resetting the clock. Going back, not to the 1950s, but to the 1850s. Some people say, yeah, Brexit is about going back to the 1950s. No, it's not. It's about going back to the 1850s, the height of the empire. What did we vote for if we're not going backwards? Thank you very much for that super chat, by the way. Let me see. Okay, we can move forward. The Irish swear as well. Yes, this is very disgusting behaviour. As you must keep the Irish at arm's length, or if you don't have an arm, use an oar. Now, Mike H has a question. It's on the Discord, who says, health private or NHS? I wouldn't be found dead in an NHS hospital. Of course, private hospital. Private doctor, actually, have your own doctor come around. Like, is that not what people have? I've heard about this NHS. I've never actually seen it. Does it really exist? Is it really that important? Like, what do people normally do when they do get sick? Don't they just call for their private physician to come and treat them? Don't you set up part of your... don't you convert part of your mansion into a ward so that you can be treated with the right equipment and everything? But bring it all in-house. That's what I did. That's what my great-grandfather did during the Second World War. He converted part of his mansion into a hospital for him, not for the soldiers. No, the soldiers were treated somewhere else, but for himself, he got a bit of gout, and it was necessary to get it treated. But he didn't go to a hospital. No, those disgusting places. We have a super chat from Jim. Whoa, I like Jim's icon. Seems a bit foreign, but it reminds me of some old times. Was Maximilian locked up in the shed? So Ron leads us this Friday instead, with a top hat called Blighty, no topics brushed lightly, in his mankini all white, blue and red. Quite poetic, but Sir Ron has not locked Maximilian in the shed. I don't have a shed, it's a garage, but he's not locked away. He's sedated, okay, until later. He may have a bit of a headache, but he'll deserve it. He steals the limelight, that's the problem. Thank you very much, Jim. Very kind of you. Let me see. We have another question. What was your last pizza? And was it pineapple fresh? Was the pineapple fresh or canned? Pizza. I'm not familiar with pizza. I don't eat pizza. I eat British food. Like tikka masala. I don't eat foreign food. No. Pizza. Where is that from? Is it America? Sounds American. I don't like America. I don't like America very, very much. They got uppity back in the 1700s, and they decided we don't want to be part of the empire anymore. Why? What was so wrong with the empire? Okay, go off and do your own empire. And then they had some problems for a while, and then they decided to fight amongst each other. Of course, that's what happens when you leave the empire. You fight amongst yourselves. And then what do you achieve by doing that? Nothing. Just destroy the place, wreck your society. What has America achieved since then? Very little, in my opinion. Robert, thank you so much for that super chat. We have a question on Brexit, it seems. The final necessary step for ever protecting the Queen's coin from the dangerous euro funny money. I'm sure you would agree, Sir Ron. Yes, Brexit was necessary to take back control of our money, because we didn't have control of our money. Unelected bureaucrats in Brussels controlled our money. They decided if the Queen went on them. I know that you may think, oh, but the Queen was already on the money. Yes, but the European Union were trying to remove the Queen. They were trying to give us these weird, strange coins that they have. We don't want that. We don't want pictures of people we don't know on our money. We want pictures of Her Majesty. Her Majesty here. Sorry. That's what we want on our money. We don't want European foreigners. We don't know who these people are. Why would I want to burn a £50 note in front of a food bank if I didn't know who was on the food bank? If I didn't know who was on the note, I think it means so much more to those people who are at the food bank if they know the Queen is being burnt. The Queen's image is being burnt. It means so much more. So like, they would laugh at us if we burnt €50. If we burnt a €50 note, the people at the food bank would laugh at us. Look at those pathetic people burning a €50 note. How much is even a €50? Is it like £5 or £3 or something? It means nothing. It means something if I'm burning a £50 note, with the Queen's head on it at a food bank. That has so much more meaning. So we don't want any European funny money. And Brexit made sure that we didn't get it. Because, of course, they would have forced us into having their funny money. And we didn't want that. So we have to thank Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson. And, of course, Jacob Rees-Mogg, my good friend, for that as well. We have a super chat from Erman. Thank you so much for that. Would you kindly accept the modest gift from a foreigner? I'll have to make this exception. Look, I do have money in Switzerland and in the Cayman Islands. So, in a sense, I am open to foreigners, okay? I don't hate them. I just don't want you taking my money, taking my freedom, taking my flag and my Queen. That's what I don't want you doing, okay? I think it's quite reasonable. Don't want you forcing us to straighten bananas or to put kippers in bags, okay? As long as you don't force us to do that, then we can be, I'm not going to say friends, but we can be reasonable neighbours. You don't have to love your neighbours. You don't have to be friendly with your neighbour. You can have a reasonable relationship. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. We used to be at war, okay? So if we're not shooting each other with cannons, then I think it's progress. But as long as you know your place, okay? Remember, know your place. You are not British, so know your place. Thank you so much for that super chat. Very kind of you. Let's move on. This is Wee Scott's dog. Does he have a problem with urine or something? Scots. Okay. Sir Ron, what do you keep under your hat? Is it a Brexit dividend? Is this some sort of trick question? The Brexit dividends are for everywhere for people to see. You've taken back control of your money. That's a Brexit dividend. Fish are happy now. That's a Brexit dividend. Nigel Farage is now working on GB News. That's a dividend. If Brexit didn't happen, Nigel Farage would have to be out there on the streets every day, marching up and down, trying to convince people to vote for Brexit. He doesn't have to do that now. Isn't that a Brexit dividend? He's free to speak with people, to talk about important issues, move on from the necessity of promoting Brexit. He's able to talk about very important issues like immigration. It was important that Brexit happened so that the UK could control its borders, but at the same time the borders are not fully controlled, so it's necessary for Nigel Farage to convince the government to control the borders. Otherwise, what did we vote for? Did people voted to take back control? So, of course, control has been taken back, but we need more control. Vicky, thank you so much, Vicky. Ron, stop thanking people for super chats. Surely it's just your due. You are correct, yeah. But I am a gentleman, okay. And even if I don't mean it, I must say it, because a gentleman thinks one thing and says another. So when I see the foreigners posting things like super chats, I say bloody foreigners. But then I have to say yes, thank you very much, because I am a gentleman. Maybe you don't understand what gentlemen are. I do recommend educating yourself on what a gentleman is. So, yes, thank you for that super chat, Vicky. Very kind of you. So Brexit dividends are everywhere to be found. I don't know why people have... The only people who can't find the Brexit dividends are Ramoners, because they have decided that there are no Brexit dividends. There are no benefits to Brexit. Because if you start off from the point that Brexit is a mistake, then everything you see is going to be a mistake. If Ramoners opened their minds a bit, if they started to believe more, believe in Brexit. If you believe in Brexit, then you're going to find the benefits. It's quite simple. I don't know why it's so difficult for people. Maybe it's because they hate Britain. If you hate Britain, then and Brexit was Britain's greatest moment, perhaps even after Churchill spoke. It could be Britain's greatest moment or second greatest moment. But Brexit, in my mind, in my eyes, was Britain's greatest moment. So if you're against Brexit, it means you're against Britain. I think it's a logical conclusion. Marcel, another foreigners. Okay. Marcel says, with Brexit being such a success, why is Nigel Farage still so angry on GB News? Because he didn't get the Brexit he wanted. He didn't get the Brexit I wanted. Brexit has been a success, yes, but there are still foreigners in Britain. The European Union hasn't completely collapsed. See, we had hoped that, when we voted the day after, the European Union would disappear. That's what I voted for, and I think that's what Nigel campaigned on. That's what most people voted for. So, we hoped when we wrote X under yes to leave, we had hoped that the European Union would be gone. But unfortunately, it's not. So Brexit has not been completed yet. When the European Union has collapsed, completely gone, no more talking about European Union, then we will know that Brexit has been a full success. But it is getting there. If you don't believe me, just read the Express. John Coleman, thank you so much for that super chat. A good British name. Sir Ron, does England need another Churchill and not another Johnny English? Have you served your country, England? And was Gandhi a hero or a traitor? Whoa, a lot of questions here. So we have, does England need another Churchill? England has two Churchills, actually three. Boris Johnson is the new Churchill. Nigel Farage is the new Churchill. Even though Nigel, yes, I understand Nigel went to Germany and he met with some particular figures over in Germany. But Nigel truly believes in Britain and cares about Britain and loves Britain. And of course, Jacob Rees-Mogg, somebody who made sure to make a good bit of money out of Brexit. What's more patriotic than making money out of Brexit? That's what Jacob Rees-Mogg does. So that's didn't Churchill make make money out of the war. I don't remember if it's true or not, but it feels true. It feels like he probably did. You know, maybe not real money, but prestige. So, not another Johnny English. No, we don't need any of that. Have you served your country? Yes, I fought in Afghanistan. I was part of the 2nd Infantry Battalion, and I wasn't based in Afghanistan. I was in Maidenhead. I wasn't in Maidenhead. I was at home, but I felt like I was there. I felt I was part of the 1st Battalion, 1st Infantry Battalion. It's like being, it's like being in Afghanistan. I saw the pictures and I followed the events on the internet, and so yes, in a sense, I served my country because I believed I was there. So, it's like Brexit. If you believe it's happening, it's happening. If you believe it's going to work, it's going to work. And you don't have to be in Afghanistan to be fighting. You can support it, and that's the same as being there. Okay. And was Gandhi a hero or a traitor? Gandhi was a traitor, of course. Gandhi wanted to break away from the empire. How did he finish? There you go. You know, if Gandhi had said, no, I'm going to be a good British subject, I'm going to shut the F up and sit down, shut the hell up and sit down and be quiet and say yes, then he wouldn't have ended up the way he was. And maybe India would be in a better state today if it had remained part of the empire. Like Ireland, if Ireland had stayed part of the empire, it would have been a better state today. And perhaps it would have left the European Union in the same way and benefited in the same way that Britain has benefited from leaving the European Union. Should never have joined in the first place. Let me see. We have another super chat. Let me see. It's from Mike Higgins. Mike Higgins says, thank you very much, Mike. It's much better to give a super chat to Sir Ron than to Max, as Sir Ron doesn't need the money. Yes, I don't need the money. My grandfather left me a lot. Not like I earned it in a sense. Yes, like people will say, oh, but it's an inheritance. You didn't earn it. Yeah, I earned it. I showed my loyalty, and I was rewarded for that loyalty. Okay? I visited my grandfather every summer. I went there on a Sunday. This is normally the first Sunday of July. And I listened to him talk and talk and talk and talk. And I nodded. And I said, very interesting, grandfather. And tell me another thing, grandfather. And he would talk and talk and talk. And he would say, Ron, you're my greatest grandson. And I said, yes, I am. And do remember that. And remember, if you need help filling out the final testament, the will, I'll be here, and I can afford a good lawyer to make sure that everything is done correctly. And he said, you always care about me, Ron. And I said, yes, I do. Remember that. I always care about you. It was a real pain, but it worked out in the end. It was about 100 million. I've done quite well out of that. I worked hard for that. Don't anyone say I did not work hard for that 100 million. You would not believe the sacrifice of that Sunday every year, going there and listening to an old man ramble on for 3 hours. And you having to nod and say yes and drink cold tea because the staff he had were incompetent. It was, I almost lost it sometimes. It was a real struggle, and at least that was my work. Okay. Other people would say, yes, I worked in a supermarket packing shelves, or I drove a truck for 12 hours, or was it 6 hours a day, or 12 hours a day, or whatever. But we all had our crosses to bear. Okay. And every cross is just as tough as any other cross. Sorry, yes. So I don't really need the money. But you sending me money shows that you care. And shows that you truly believe in Brexit. Because I'm an advocate for Brexit. So we have to look after each other. Mike, thank you so much for that super chat. So let's move on to the next question over here. Ooh, make sure I didn't jump one. We have Derek. Derek, precisely, does Brexit delivered by the present government differ from the one you presumably voted for, or the one that you would have implemented given the chance to do so? Well, I sort of answered this already. The Brexit I voted for was the end of the European Union. So I didn't just vote for Britain to leave. I voted for the European Union to come to an end. But it hasn't. So Boris Johnson has still some work to do. I'm sure he's bringing it down the best he can. I really wish he'd get his finger out and, get to work, a bit more. There's a lot of work to do. The European Union is still around. The vote was, 5 years ago? And the European Union is still here. Nigel was talking about how it's going to collapse, and I'm pretty sure it's going to collapse at any moment, but we need to speed it up, okay? The longer it's around, the more stress it provides to me. It gives me, okay? So I would have preferred that the European Union collapse immediately as soon as I voted, or at least when the numbers came in. The public around Europe would look and say, the British people voted to leave. We need to end the European Union. It has been a failure. And I was hoping that countries around Europe would see the result, would see the effect Brexit is having currently in Britain, and say, we don't want any more of this European project. The British people are happy with Brexit. Brexit has been a success. We need to leave. And why isn't that happening? Maybe it's because they're not very clever people. They are foreigners, as we know. Let me see. We have Jauka sent me a super chat. It says Max is not here. Have you invited Mike Cashman of the channel Britannia Waves the Rules? He's done great satire too, in a similar vein. Satire, I'm not sure what you're talking about, satire. Thank you very much for that super chat, but Britannia Waves the Rules. Britain always respects the rules. We wrote the rules. Although, okay, in a sense, we don't have to respect the rules because we're above the rules. It's like the royal family. The royal family don't need to follow the law because the royal family are above the law. In the same way, Britannia doesn't need to follow the rules because we're above the rules. We write the rules for other people. And they should be happy with that because they're good rules. Okay? You don't want some unelected bureaucrat in Brussels writing rules because they have no understanding of what it's like to be an ordinary person. They don't understand the problems ordinary British people face every day. Like, should I take the Range Rover Sport or should I take the Vogue? What sort of other problems do British people face every day? Should I buy a new hat or should I use the one that my grandfather gave? Like, should I wear that one or should I buy a new one? Should I have caviar or should I have swordfish? Should I drink? Should I have cognac or should I have brandy? These are the real conflicts that the ordinary British people have every day. The Europeans don't understand that. They never will. Another reason why we should have left. We have another super chat from FSM is the dog. NHS is waiting for their 350 million. Is the money lost? The money is on its way. Boris stands by his word. He didn't say when the money would come, but he said it will come. So the NHS just need to be patient, okay? Boris Johnson has a lot on his plate, okay? He's just gotten married. He has a baby on the way. Yes, I think so. Another one. So, he has a lot to deal with at the moment. Cut him some slack. And I just heard recently that Boris Johnson is earning, and I had to sit down when I heard this. I had palpitations. Boris Johnson is earning only £150,000 a year. A year, not a month, okay? £150,000 a year. My heart bleeds. How is a man supposed to run a country on £150,000 a year? Yes, I know he has also royalties from books and he gets money from donations or whatever, but £150,000. How does he pay his staff in his mansion? How does he clean his country home? He must spend half of that on cleaning his country home. I spent $3 million last year on gardening at my country estate. How does Boris Johnson spend? How is he supposed to live on £150,000 a year? He deserves to be a saint. He needs, I'm not Catholic, but he should be made a saint. Church of England, actually. But he should be made a saint. Living on £150,000 a year. I don't know how he does it. I really do. I'd like to ask him. I just thought of it recently. My God. Okay. NHS, 350 minutes. They need to wait. Just be patient. Okay? Patient. In the NHS, patient. They just need to be patient. It's in the post. Okay? Isn't that what the poor people say? The money's in the post. There you go. Vicky, thank you so much for that super chat. FSM is the dog, doesn't understand. The NHS was a suggestion, and we will do this instead. Honestly, some people just don't understand the possibilities of 300. Yes, you could buy a yacht for that. 350 million. You could build a statue to Winston Churchill. Even better, Margaret Thatcher. Build a statue to Margaret Thatcher. I think there was a statue, but a bigger one, a massive one. You could build it somewhere up north, okay? Her looking across the sea, looking across the land. We could build even a statue to Boris Johnson. I think it would be wonderful. We could have one in every town. How about having a statue of Boris Johnson in every town? From Belfast to Birmingham, from Glasgow to another place down with G. I forgot. But a statue of Boris Johnson every town. That, I don't know how much that would cost. Probably a bit more than 350 million. But it would be worth it. Because then people would look up and say, that is the man who's fighting for me. That is the man who's struggling on £150,000 a year, doing his best, and getting attacked at every turn by people who are just ungrateful. It's a disgrace. Vicky, thank you so much for that super chat. We have another from Vlad, foreigner living the Brexit dream. Amazing. Well done. You know, Brexit, it's not just a British thing. It's also for the Europeans. The Europeans are better off because of Brexit. They think that Brexit is bad for Europe, but Brexit is good for Europe. I've heard so many Europeans say, yes, we're happy that Britain is gone. Somehow, you know, some people say, oh, they're being sarcastic or something, but I don't believe so. I think they truly believe that Britain is better, or Europe is better that Britain is gone. In the same way that Britain is better that Europe is gone. It's not gone yet, but it's on the way out. We just need to be patient, like the NHS. Just be patient. All good things will come to pass. We have Hedgehog Legs. Oh, that's an interesting name, Hedgehog Legs. This is your chicken's food. I'm sure you'll appreciate it. This is for your chicken's food. My chickens? Yes. Okay. I have horses, if that's what you mean. I can send that money to the horses. That's good. I don't ride them. I just breed them and sell them. But it's don't even like horses. They're horrible creatures, smelly, stupid animals. But I breed them and sell them, and you know we make some money out of it. So let me see, Tad. We have another super chat from Tad. You can't ask. You can ask Boris personally. Just join the Conservative Advisory Group for £250,000. It's pocket change. Lord Tobias Kentwell. Yes, I'm actually a member of the Conservative Advisory Group. Yes, an honorary member. They said we don't even want the money. Okay. They said it would be insulting if I was to give them money, so they made me an honorary member. I'm sure. When Christmas comes, I'll send some money Boris's way. Like, I feel sorry for the guy. He's on £150,000 a year. How is he supposed to survive? So I will write him a check. And you know what's very important about the advisory group is that we decide policy. So we make sure that we remove waste like welfare or what is it called, the NHS. We remove these things because it's waste. We don't need them. We don't need an NHS. If you get sick, you go to a hospital. You pay. That's what we do. Why would you have it any other way? And if there are poor people, they can go to a food bank. The problem solved. Why do we need to give people money if they can go to the food bank? Why are we paying people money to buy food when there is food available at the food bank? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I've been speaking to politicians and they say, yes, but the people want money so they can buy food. And I say, yeah, but there's food at the food bank. And they say, yeah, but they don't like going there. Why? Why don't they like going to there? There's food at the food bank. Go to the food bank. Why should we pay for it? Why should my tax... Okay, I don't pay taxes, but why... Oh, because, it's a good idea to have money in the Cayman Islands. But why should some of the money that I have invested, that it gets taxed, why should that money pay for people to sit at home all day or to be fed food? They go to the food bank. That's it. Problem solved. It's not my job to feed people. Let's move on. We have another... Whoa, it's 1 hour, 30 minutes. Okay. I'm not sure how long I can stay on tonight because I'm hearing some scratching from downstairs. Perhaps the sedatives are wearing off, so I'll have to be quick. How do you think things are going with Brexit? I imagine how are things going with Brexit? It's been a success, a massive success. Peace in Northern Ireland restored or protected. There are no problems in Northern Ireland. Everything's going really well. We have exporters are able to export. Some people are saying, yes, but you need to move to the EU to export. Look, it's not a real big problem, okay? And, if some of these businesses can't adapt to Brexit, well, then they deserve to close, okay? The bigger companies haven't been complaining, not so much. But the smaller companies, what you do is, if you're going to close, you can't export, no problem. Jacob or, one of his companies will come along and say, would you like to sell? And you say yes, and they ask, how much would you like to sell your company for? And you say, well, I'd like to sell it for £1 million. And they say, we'll give you 250,000. And you say no, and they say, okay, we're going to walk away. And you say, yes, but I have bills to pay, and I have a mortgage, and I have to, if I lay people off, I may have to give them some money. And then we say, okay, we'll give you 150,000. And you say, what? I thought you were going to give me 200. And you say, I've changed the deal. Pray that I don't change it any further. And that's how you negotiate. And which is a pity we didn't negotiate like that with the European Union. But you force these people to sell their company really cheaply, and then what you do is you buy it up, and then you tell the people, yeah, we're going to keep you on, we're going to keep the business running, and then you sack everyone, and then you sell off the assets. So they probably have some machinery or buildings or cars or computers and whatever you can find in there. Jacob is amazing. He's like a machine. He's like a laser. He goes into those places. He will take out the light bulbs, and he'll be able to sell the light bulbs off and make a profit out of it. I stand in awe. He went into one building and he took out, the batteries of an alarm, and he sold the batteries. He made money out of that as well. It's like, this man is a god. So went in there, sold the company off, closed everything out, sacked everyone. Amazing. And made a huge amount of money off it. And then what do? Move on to the next. And it's amazing at the moment because there's so many businesses that are suffering. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful time of year. Wonderful opportunities for operators like myself and Jacob and others to just go in, offer them. It's important that you don't offer them what they want or anything near that. You say, this is what I'm going to give you, because what you do is you make sure that they don't, that you work with others to make sure, okay, I'm not going to encroach on your turf. So you don't come near me, I won't come near you. These are the other organizations. So you go in and you say, look, no one else is going to buy your company. you're going to go bankrupt. You're going to end up with nothing. I'll give you 100,000. Yes, but it's worth $1 million. Okay. No one else is going to come. I've already spoken to them. We've sewn it up. And they go, and they start crying and they say, but I have a family, and, and you just laugh if necessary. Take out a £50 note and burn it and say, this is how much it's worth to me. And it works. And they'll sell off the company for almost nothing. We have a super chat. Let me see, from Space Pills. Oh, I've been speaking a lot there, so explaining how it works. Space Pill says it's disgusting that the EU SSR won't let us go, that the British people elect Nigel Farage to the European Parliament. He can't take them down. Just give him time. Yes, Nigel, as I said, like Boris Johnson deserves a statue, Nigel Farage deserves a statue too. Nigel has done so much for Britain, fighting against the European Union. You know that when there were committees and meetings that were supposed to be held, Nigel didn't bother to go to them because he was saying, I'm not going to your meetings because I'm going to bring the European Union down from inside. He didn't succeed as much as he wanted, but he definitely damaged the European Union. The European Union is pretty much on its last legs, and I think Nigel had a massive part to play there. And he was elected to the unelected Parliament. It's unelected, run by unelected bureaucrats. But Nigel found a way in. Some people say, it's through democracy. No, it wasn't democracy because the European Union is not democratic. We have a super chat from Bite Size Ghost Stories, who says, what's your favorite dog breed? Jack Russell. Jack Russell, yes. Jack Russell is a calm, quiet dog. That's the type of dog I would like to have. I don't like dogs. They're smelly, disgusting creatures. But if I was to have a dog, it'd probably be a Jack Russell, a true British dog. I don't like Bulldog because Bulldog is sort of working class. But Jack Russell, I think, or something bit more elegant. Perhaps something like the Queen has. What is it? A corgi? Corgi. Sounds foreign, but Welsh. Well, Wales is pretty much foreign, isn't it? It's a foreign country. I remember Jacob said in the House of Commons, we don't allow foreign languages in here, like Scots or Welsh or Irish. And he's right. We didn't fight 2 world wars and win one World Cup in order for us to have to speak. I was going to say French. God forbid, to speak Welsh or Gaelic or Irish or whatever, or Scots. We don't want that. Let me see. How are things going? So, as I said, swimmingly. Do Great Britain and Northern Ireland need more flags? And if so, what flags would you like to be displayed? This flag, we don't need another flag. This one is perfect. Now there's talk about Scotland perhaps leaving the Union. I don't see that happening. Don't see that happening anytime. We won't let them leave. So, they can ask, can we go? I'll try and do can we go, Mr. England? No, that's a terrible accent. Apologies to you, not to the Scots. Can we leave, sir, please? And we say, no, you can't. Sorry. No, I won't even say sorry. No, you can't. You're staying with us. You're bound to us. But we want to leave. Well, you can't. That's it. Okay. You can ask as much as you want, but you're not going. So we don't need to change the flag. That flag has served us a long time, and it will serve us another long time. Let me see. What about the English flag? The English flag, well, I prefer the British flag. The English flag is a bit working class, so I prefer the Union flag, not the Union Jack, because the Union Jack is when it's on a boat. So I have the Union Jack on my yacht. I have the Union flag in my home, and every home should have one. Let me see. Could you say hi to Rupert for me? Rupert who? Rupert Murdoch. I haven't seen Rupert in a while. He doesn't seem very well at the moment. I know he's about 300 years old, but he does look a bit... He doesn't look it, certainly. Let me read some more of your chat. So I can say hello to Rupert. I think that's all of the questions. Oh, our wonderful dear leader. Let me see some of you. I can try and read some of your comments here on the chat as well. So let me see. Clearly a Scot from Belfast there. Derek, you sounded like it. Yep, sounded like it. I try. I don't speak foreign languages, okay? We need a conference flag of South England. A Confederate flag of South England. A picture of kebab and a vindaloo. English personified. Yes, very, very droll. Rupert is enjoying the sunshine. Do you like Nick Griffin? I don't know Nick Griffin. Nick Griffin doesn't sound like a real patriot. Sir Ron making Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nigel Farage sound like wokey left Ramoners. And look, Nigel, as I've said before, Nigel does his best. Nigel has dedicated his life to getting Britain out of the European Union. He's not benefiting from it, not one bit. Jacob Rees-Mogg the same. Jacob Rees-Mogg is not benefiting from Brexit. Not directly, okay? Of course, there are companies that are closing and venture capitalists are coming in and buying them up cheaply, as I explained, and how you can make a lot of money yourself if you do that. But not directly. So it's neither of these men are benefiting directly. They did it because they care about Britain, because of their love of Britain. If you love Britain, you would do that. That's why Jeremy Corbyn is not a Brexiteer, because he doesn't love Britain. You're certainly very trying. Sir Ron, do you think our Bodger combs his hair with a candy stick? Very rude, very rude. No, Boris does comb his hair on Wednesdays. I think I have some more questions. Let me see. Yes, I have some more questions. I can try and read these out very quickly. You won't be able to see them, but I'll read them out quickly so you can enjoy them as well. Let me see. So we have a list of questions. Yes, no, like I'm given two options here, so I'll try and do my best to read them out. So it says here, the first one is sport. Cricket or rugby? Well, cricket. No, actually rugby, because rugby is a true British sport. Cricket is played all over the world. Rugby, yes, but not to the same extent. Next we have wine, red or white. Red, of course, because I prefer brandy, because wine, we don't produce a lot of wine in Britain. School, Eton or Harrow? Eton, of course. Groceries, Waitrose or M&S? You'd have to ask the butler. I don't know the answer to that. University, Oxford or Cambridge? Oxford. Fishing, trout or salmon? Trout, because salmon, you normally get salmon from abroad, or Scotland, which is like abroad. So it's like foreign food. I don't like foreign food. Trout. Beer, bitter or lager? I don't drink beer. Brandy. Car, Rolls-Royce or Bentley? Rolls-Royce. Bentley is... Bentley, please. It's the poor people that drive Bentleys. Wife, blonde or brunette? Alex Phillips. Shooting, grouse or pheasant? The second. Peasant. I prefer to shoot peasants. Let me see. We have some more questions. Takeaway food, Chinese or Indian. You'd have to ask the butler. Like, why are you asking what food would I decide? I don't... Like, who buys... Does anyone here not have a butler, okay, that goes out and buys the food for you and produces it for you, like prepares it for you? I've never been to a supermarket. Don't even know what they look like. Anyway, we have royal family, Camilla or Diana. Oh, sorry, I missed one. Politics, Tory or Conservative? Conservative. Royal family, Camilla or Diana? You even have to ask. Camilla. London Hotel, Ritz or Savoy? Savoy. Ritz is... Isn't it Ritz owned by foreigners? I don't remember. Theatre, opera or ballet? Ballet, because opera normally has foreigners singing, and I don't understand foreigners, so I don't like to go to opera. Newspaper, the Times or the Telegraph? The Times, of course. Telegraph is for the working class. Spirits, whiskey or brandy? Whiskey is a foreign drink, okay? Brandy. Death, burial or cremation? Mausoleum. Let me see. We have some more questions like this. London home, apartment or house? A house, of course. Let me see. Card games, bridge or poker? Poker? Why would I be playing poker? Poker is for poor people. It's bridge, of course. Horse racing, the Derby or the Grand National? Of course, the Grand National. Flying, first class or private jet? I fly first class because I'm a man of the people. You know, how can you look down on people if you're in a private jet? How is it possible to look down on people if you're in a private jet? So, yes, I fly first class so that when I get on the plane, I look at the poor people and I smirk and I say, enjoy your peanuts and your Coca-Cola or your little bottle of wine. I hope it fills your stomach. And then I move into first class where we have a full menu. We have some comments also. Liberal or Tory? Tory, of course. Conservative is best. Tory is next. Ballet is usually Russian dancers. Exactly. So I don't like those people. Cribbage. Corruption or cover-up? Cover-up. Corruption is such a dirty term. We prefer cover-up. Or helping others out. That's what it's not about corruption. It's not... It's the media like to use the word corruption. It's about helping each other out. Boris Johnson needs some wallpaper. I don't know how... Obviously, he can't afford it because he's only on £150,000 a year. So, someone helps him out. Boris Johnson needs food to be sent to number 10. Somebody helps him out. I don't like the word corruption. It's implying something negative. Pull yourself or pull someone. I'm not sure what that's about. Calves, oysters used to be the food of the poor. I'm not going to eat poor food. If I want to eat poor food, I'll go to the Ritz. Roscommon or Leitrim? I don't like Ireland. I've never been there, so Roscommon. Probably Roscommon. I've heard Leitrim is even more poor than Roscommon. Lucan or the nanny? I'm not sure who Lucan is, but the nanny, of course. Fish or chips? Fish? What are chips? I don't eat chips. Anyway, you have Some more. Well, we're almost at the end of this because I hear the scratching getting louder. Okay, so I'm going to have to deal with that problem very, very soon before it becomes a problem for you too. Okay. Look, I've used some tranquilizers that I normally use for the horses. I gave him, like, I worked out, okay, how much does he weigh? And then I guessed the dosage from that, and then I gave him a horse tranquilizer for the weight but I may have underestimated it. So he'll be probably waking up quite soon. Help him out, Boris, yes. Fish or French fries? Fish, of course. JCB or Dyson? Dyson. What Dyson make vacuum cleaners, but then I know that the butler has a vacuum cleaner. You know, I am a man of the people. I know that the butler has these things. Many people don't know what their butlers use. They don't know what the butler has. I'm more in tune with ordinary people than most. Bangers and mash, no understanding there. Okay. We have some more of these other questions. Whoops, I did something wrong there. What do you think will cease to exist first, the UK or the EU? The EU, of course. The EU is going to collapse at any moment. We just need to be patient, but it is about to collapse. The UK will remain strong, as it has always remained strong. The Scots are, as I said before, the Scots are talking about leaving. They're not leaving. Northern Ireland is going to remain part of the UK forever. Okay. Let me read some more of these questions. Greatest Prime Minister, Churchill or Thatcher? I would say Thatcher, because Churchill cared about the poor. Thatcher did not, and I admire Thatcher for that, because she said to the poor, look, you're poor, we're not going to tolerate you anymore, we're going to make your life a misery so that you better yourselves. That's what the poor need. The poor don't need to be told, we're going to look after you, we're going to provide you with food. The poor need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They need to get out there, make some money. Well, inherit the money first. Inherit the money. Whoops, I'm losing my earpiece. Inherit the money first, and then make the money with that inheritance. That's what the poor need to do. I think it's quite simple. Don't be poor. You know, Republicans in the United States say the same thing. If you don't want to be poor, just don't be poor. If you want a home, ask your parents to buy you one. What's the problem? If you want to work, okay, you know, if you want to work, ask your dad or mom or whoever to put in a word for you at the on the board of the local company. And there you have it. There you're working. Why are people making such a big issue out of this? I really don't understand why there's so many people saying that they're unemployed. How are you unemployed? You just ask your parents to put in a word for you, and the next day, or maybe at the most a week, you know, they have to complete the paperwork. You're either a senior manager or a director in the company. I don't understand why people are making such a mountain out of a molehill here. Let me read some more of your well, I think I've read some of those. Do you think Johnson can compensate the COVID deaths by making many children? That's a very strange question. Are you suggesting that Boris Johnson is trying to compensate for the number of people who have died? Elmo Buffer. Taxes or handouts, says someone here. Well, the taxes are bad, handouts are not. But if it depends on who's receiving the handout, of course. If you have set up a company and you're receiving handouts from the government, then that's fine. But I don't agree with handouts to the poor. The poor have received enough. The poor need to work for what they want. If they want to be better, if they want to have something, they need to work for it. Star Wars or Star Trek? I am not familiar with either of those. The Empire or self-determination? Oh, that's a very difficult question. The Empire was a demonstration of self-determination. We demonstrated that we can go alone. We can rule the waves. And I think, in a sense, the question is a bit flawed because the Empire is self-determination. Big or bang? I'm not sure about that. Next election, I'm backing Sir Ron, Supreme Leader of the island of Gamonia. I'm not familiar with Gamonia. Gammons. I hear a lot of people talking about gammons. Am I a gammon? What is a gammon? Where do we find these gammons? Part of the Republic of Bigotry. Bigotry sounds good. Bigotry. Where everything leans to the right. Yes, everything must be on the right. As you can see, I have the Queen on the right. I have the flag on the right as well. Wet shave or wax? I'm not familiar with a lot of these questions. I apologies, I don't understand. So I must go because I'm afraid that the scratching is becoming a bit intolerable. So I'm going to have to end the live stream now. So I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who came on tonight. I want to say thank you to everyone who sent a question beforehand. I want to say a huge thank you, massive thank you to everyone who sent a super chat. I didn't need the money, but because I already have about 300 million in an offshore bank account in the Cayman Islands, but keep that under your hat. But the flag, yes, your flag is on the left, but the Queen is on the right, on the far right, where she belongs. Oh, very funny. So I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who sent a super chat tonight, and I want to say a massive thank you to the moderators. I don't know if there were any trolls tonight, maybe Ramon or Scum trying to come on and trying to derail the conversation. So I think we kept the Ramoners out. That's good. So I may see you again another time. I don't know when. I'll have to find some more horse tranquilizer, and if I do, I'll be able to sedate my evil twin. And I will see you soon, I hope, and I will bid you a good evening. So thank you very much for coming along. Take care and have a very nice evening and weekend. Good night. Tad, we sent another super chat. Gammon just means they envy your rosy red cheeks. Yes, the rosy red cheeks. They will use whatever insults they can because they're afraid of Brexiteers. They don't understand Brexit, and all they can do is try to tear Brexit down, tear Britain down, because as I said before, Brexit is an expression of British patriotism. Good night, and I'll see you soon.